Hey there, welcome back to Upside Planted again. My name is Courtney, and today we're going to talk about the Monstera Albo. I have had this plant. It will be a year in March since I got this plant. I actually have the original video that I posted on TikTok.
Have you ever wondered what turns a guy off?
No, but I did just get a Monstera Albo, and I'm so excited to watch this plant grow. Where I talked about getting this plant. I didn't have any really good pictures of it. But I do have that video so you can kind of see where I started and where we're at now. So I'm going to talk about how I grow this. This is just my experience and then what I plan on doing in the future and basically everything that happened from March to now. I got this plant in March of 2022. I got it from Facebook, of course. I actually don't have Facebook anymore. But anyways, I just happened to see the post of somebody posting a bunch of cuttings, and honestly, this is a plant that I never dreamed of having. This wasn't a plant that was even on my radar or on my wish list or anything at all, really, because of the price of these plants. Like a big Monstera Albo cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and it wasn't even on my mind, but I just happened to see that post, and I had sent the post to a few friends. And I was like, should I get this? Is this a good deal? Because this isn't the type of plant that I normally buy. I never spent that much money on a plant. And I was just kind of like, I have some extra money right now. And am I willing to take this risk? And I did. It cost me, literally, this is the original leaf. And everybody told me to cut this off and I never did. And it's still here. But it was this leaf. And then it had one really long, aerial root and then one short one, I think, in the video. That's, pretty much all I can see. And that was it. So I literally paid $125 for this leaf, which is fucking insane, to be quite honest. And now that I'm growing it this way, I'm happy that I got it. And I think it looks amazing, and I can't wait to continue to grow it. But at the time, it was just like a YOLO type of moment. Do the kids still say YOLO? I am fucking old. Anyways, so I got it. When I got this plant, I just put it in water right away. And everybody told me to keep the part where it's growing out of water, to make sure that it didn't get moist, because this plant is prone to root rot. Because in that first video, I just threw it in a cup of water because I really didn't know what I was even going to do with it. So I ended up keeping the water level below that point, and those two roots were in the water. And I had it like that for a really long time because honestly, I had no idea how I was going to grow it, if more roots were going to come in. I really didn't have a fucking clue, to be completely honest with you. And then after a while, it started growing so many new roots. So I felt really good about that because I was like, if I spent $125 and I killed this, I'm going to be pissed off. But I had a bunch of roots, and I had it like that for a very, very, very long time. And then I was like, it's time to actually pot this up for real. So I decided to do this drainless. And one of the biggest reasons why I thought that was going to be the best option was because, one, I wanted it in this container because it's cute. And two, I really wanted a way to stabilize the plant. And if I want to put a stake in it, which I think I will in the next couple of weeks, it's just going to be easier to let it live this way. And also, one of my inspirations for even keeping it in this kind of method, but I think she keeps hers in water. I don't know if she still does. I haven't seen her post in a long time. Her name is Caitlin, and she had her Monstera Albo is just in water, and it's going up her wall, which I think is amazing. So that kind of inspired me to continue growing in not soil. And I did the moss and perlite and leca combination that I talk about all the time, and it has been in here for months. And while it was in the water, I think this leaf shot up. This leaf is yellowing now. But this was the first little leaf that I had. It just started turning yellow a couple days ago. And then we had this leaf. So this was my second leaf, and I was like, okay, we can do this. The variegation looks really beautiful. And then we had this leaf. I think these last two leaves and this one, I think, like, was starting. But these definitely were growing. They grew with this method. So yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely took a risk with this plant and I don't regret it. And I think growing it this way helps me a lot because it helps retain moisture for me, because I tend to be somebody who underwaters, and that's not good. I mean, underwatering, overwatering are not good, but underwatering, I feel like, is just something that I'm prone to, and this method of growing, especially this plant, this way has helped. And I will probably have to be honest with you, I'll probably have to repot soon and give it a bigger container, even though I like it in the slender container, but just something that's like maybe a little bit taller and wider, because if you can see really closely right here, the roots are already growing towards the bottom, and they're growing quicker than I expected, to be honest with you. And I'll give you a closer look of those, and you can see like how amazing the roots have been growing on this plant. And I probably fill this up once every couple of weeks, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, and that's it. I honestly, to be really honest, for real, I forget to do the Flora Grow. That's what I like to use when I water my plants, but most of the time I really do forget, and I just give this water, plain water, and that's it. So I think if I was more consistent with my Flora Grow, we could get a really good growth spurt, hopefully, from this plant. And I also think staking it up will help as well. And I know what I was going to say. I have this in my grow tent, and it is under a light. But recently, over the last couple of weeks, I've actually turned less lights on in my grow tent to see how that affects my plants. Because inside of the grow tent, it's reflective lining and the whole thing, and I have a lot of lights in there, and I want to experiment basically with having less lights, even though I'm hoping that the reflectiveness of everything will still make sure everything gets lights, if that makes sense. So I'm experimenting with that over the last couple of weeks, but honestly, I think my plants are getting so much better, and I'm really happy about the growth of this plant. So I mentioned this earlier, I do want to stake up this plant because I really want to get it to be this big again. Like, obviously we have the growth and it's here, and the variegation has been really stable. That was something that I didn't research. I mean, I didn't do any research with this plant. I just bought it on a whim. But I have heard a lot about the variegation being unstable and like browning and all of that stuff, which obviously this one has, but it's still alive. So I'm glad I never like cut this off. I was never going to, but a lot of people told me to cut it off, and I was like, I'm not going to cut this off. Why would I cut it off? It's like the only thing I bought. So I'm glad I've kept it all of this time. But yeah, I afterwards researching about this plant, you know, the variegation is unstable, and you know, it's kind of like, this plant is a risky plant to buy, but for me, I think it's worth it. And I also think, like, I'm gonna move soon, and I think I'll have more of an opportunity to display my plants in a new house, because I want to buy a house this year. And this is one that I'm excited to like have outside in my house. Right now, like I don't know, like right now in my house, I do have space, but I don't know, the space feels really awkward. And you know how like after a while, if you've been somewhere, you're just like, I'm ready to leave and like start fresh. That's how I feel about this place. And I think this place was like a transitional period in my life. I got out of the military. I moved straight in here, and I've been here for 4 years. And this is like the first place that has been my own, but like it's not mine. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like when I buy my house and I'm able to like really put my soul into it, I'll be able to display my plants in more thoughtful ways and like more exciting ways than I can right now. Cause like I look at my collection and I'm like, I have so many cute plants, but just I guess the way that the spacing is in my house, it's just really awkward to like display all of my plants, and I want to get like different shelving and like vintage stuff and thrift store stuff, and like I don't know, I have so many ideas, and I'm excited that I'll be able to take you along on that journey when I do move and like decorate my house and stuff. But that was like a whole tangent. But anyways, yeah, so this plant, really cool. It was definitely a risk, not something that I ever thought I was going to buy, but I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. I really do like it now. I think it's a lot easier this way, and I feel like all the horror stories about this plant, I haven't felt them yet, and I'm hoping that I don't. I feel like I don't see a lot of people talk about growing it this way though. And if you have one and it's struggling, maybe try this. I really like it, and I have a lot of plants like this. You could also, instead of moss, you could also do soil on this top part and still do it drainless if that is something that you want to do. But I really like this plant, and I'm excited to watch it grow, and I will stake this plant up. I don't know if I want to stake it up now or if I want to repot and then stake it up. If I repot, I will have to put it in, I actually think I can repot my Alocasia Frydek into a bigger container, and then I can move this one into that one, and I'll have to clean it and all that stuff, but I'm definitely not doing that today. But yeah, this is the Monstera Albo, and it's kind of cool, and I like it, and I am glad that I bought it, and I absolutely do not regret buying this plant. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know in the comments below if you think this plant is overhyped or what. I don't know. I think it was overhyped, but then I also don't think. I think it's pretty cool. And honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about it right now at this moment. I kind of like it. I'm kind of digging it. I want to thank you again so much for watching today's video, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. See ya.